A year and a half ago, God told me he was going to put me in the fire and burn. And he told me that as I go through this, it was not going to feel good, wasn't going to be comfortable, and that he was going to lead me through this place of struggle and pain and darkness. He had to bring me through the valley. And this song came from that place of the valley. You know, if you think about going through a valley, what you see, what you experience are these hard places. Your feet are kind of fumbling as you're walking. You're uneven ground. You're going forward. You can't always see behind the twists and turns that are ahead. It's almost like an uprooting in your life. Like you have to go and do this hard work and dig into the dirt, pull out the weeds, and let them burn in the fire. My greatest comfort in this season has been knowing that the Holy Spirit is with me. It's this whole idea of abide in me and I will tend to you. In Song of Solomon 1, verse 5 and 6, it talks about the Shulamite woman and how she was dark but lovely. And I picture her out in the field tending her sheep and brutal conditions, like the sun beating down on her, doing the hard work and hard labor of sheep tending, being out in the field. It's gross, it's dirty, but this is the place that she met her beloved. A silversmith's job is to stand there and make sure that the silver is purified properly in the right amount of time. If he left too soon, it would not be purified enough. And if he let it burn too long, it would burn up. So much like this, God comes in and says, hey, I want to make this big change in your life. I want to purify you, but don't worry, I'm with you. And this is that valley season. Honestly, most of our life is spent in the valley. All that stuff in between there is the valley. And that's our life. Like the mountaintop is such a small amount of time. We live our lives so often just trying to get to the mountaintop because it's perfection, right? But it's not on the mountaintop where we have change happen. It's usually in that valley season. And so we really have to become experts at living in the valley. Over and over again, the psalmist will cry out to the Lord saying, oh God, be with me in my struggle, in my anguish. Psalm 91 says, I will be with you. And he says also that if you cry out to me, I will hear you, I will answer you. It goes back to that whole thing of abide in me and I will tend to you. We have to get to this point in our lives where we're leaning on the Lord. Song of Solomon 8:5 says, who is this coming up from the wilderness, leaning upon her beloved? And this is exactly what it's like with your time in the wilderness and your time in this valley where you're just struggling and it hurts and it's painful and God is just right there. And our job isn't to like get through the valley faster and fix all the issues that we have in between in the valley. Like I'm going to sprint through the valley. That's not how it goes. The goal of the valley is that we're being purified. So in this season, God's like, hey, learn to lean on me and I will tend to you. Lean on me, abide in me, I will tend to you. And I will purify and make you like me. Because that's the goal, is that we look like him, we walk like him, we talk like him. And that can only happen through complete humility, submission, humbling before him, setting our face to his face and saying, make me like you. And my response in that season has to be, okay, God, I submit to you. Not, I will be offended at you, God. Because I think that's something that is an error in our society. I can be offended at God and I can go through life because he can handle it. Well, yeah, he can handle it, but he's sovereign. And that means he's over everything. Matthew 11:6 says, "Blessed is the one who is not offended because of me." Isaiah 55:8-9 says, "Your thoughts are higher than mine." And so I have to go through life knowing that he knows way better than I do. Like, he's the ancient one. He's been around for all eternity and beyond. And I think I know? No. He's the leader. And so I either get into his story or I lose out. I don't really like to think about this, but Psalm 119:71 says, "It is good for me that I've been afflicted." I can either go through the valley season complaining and, saying my woes to everyone around me or whatever, or I can ask God, how do you want me to respond in this season? How do you want me to lay myself before you? How do you want me to posture my heart so that I am not sinning against you? In Psalm 119 says, verse 10 and 11 says, "With my whole heart I have sought you. Oh, let me not wander from your commandments. Your word I have hidden in my heart that I might not sin against you." We have to learn from this verse. The goal is that I look like him, not that I oppose him, right? So when I go through this valley season, when we have to come to this point where we understand, like, I'm not going to sin against you. I need your word to be in my heart so that when I'm pressed and I'm crushed and I'm going through the fire, that what's coming out of my mouth are love and praises to God and like commitment to him, and this like inner resolve that I'm not going to waver. I'm not going to give into the sin, and I'm not going to even give into the idea that I should be offended at you. We go through things, we get sick, we have people die, we see craziness all around us, but I will not curse the Lord. And this is that resolve that I will go through the fire, I will let you lead, and I will go through the valley of life, praising you and blessing you and letting you work in my heart and in my life, or I'm not going to look like you. When we're able to go through that valley season of life and have this resolve in our heart and this commitment to the Lord, only then would we even be able to sustain a mountaintop type of life anyways. What I love about the Lord is that in his kindness, as we're going through those seasons, he promises that he will give us life and love and joy, and he'll be with us in our grief, and he'll be with us in our struggles. In the words of this song on the bridge, it says, "You give me peace, love, joy, kindness, safety, abundant patience, and endless grace." How good is the Lord that he comes and he's able to give us all of that and have so much patience. What we are not often given by other people, he gives us. Only he can take us through the valley and give all of that in the midst of it. How much grace he gives when I don't deserve it at all. But it's this abundant patience that he has with me. Going through the valley, I'm going to trip over that rock probably 15 times before I get it figured out. And he's like, "That's okay. Let me help you up. Let me get you out of that. Let's go around the rock next time." These are different ways that he works in our life. And I love him for it.
In the valleys where